What if Khal Drogo never fell to that infected wound? What if the Great Khal had lived, with Daenerys and her dragons at his side? This single twist changes the entire story of Westeros. Let's explore how the living world of ice and fire would have been reshaped. In the original tale, Drogo's wound festers, leaving Daenerys widowed and vulnerable. But if he recovers, even slowly, the Dothraki horde remains intact. 40,000 screamers, loyal to the most feared warlord in Essos. And now, they're Khaleesi, who has just birthed dragons. Daenerys gains influence not as the last Targaryen alone, but as the wife of an undefeated conqueror. Her position is unshakable, her voice respected. Drogo listens when she whispers of the Iron Throne, and with dragons circling above, the Horse Lords begin to believe her vision of conquest. With Drogo alive, the Red Waste is never endured. Qarth, Astapor, and Meereen remain footnotes in history. Daenerys doesn't need to build her power city by city. She sails directly west. The Iron Throne is her first destination, not her last. Imagine the sight. Ships stolen or bought, carrying tens of thousands of Dothraki across the narrow sea. Dragons still small, but fierce enough to terrify. The world shifts on its axis the moment their hooves strike Westerosi soil. And here is where timing matters. Robert Baratheon is still alive. He has long feared the return of the Targaryens, but he imagined them weak and scattered. Instead, he faces an invasion unlike anything in living memory. Cavalry without number, and creatures thought lost to legend. Robert calls his banners, but his kingdom is divided. The North resents the crown, the Lannisters plot their own power. Stannis broods over Dragonstone. Renly schemes with the Tyrells. Against this chaos, Drogo and Daenerys arrive united, fire and blood made flesh. The battles would be brutal. The Dothraki, masters of open field combat, tear through Westerosi levies. Dragonfire breaks castles once thought impenetrable. Imagine Harrenhal's blackened stones aflame again, or the Reach's fertile fields trampled under endless hooves. Robert himself might ride to meet Drogo in single combat, a warrior king against a warlord undefeated. Could Robert's warhammer shatter Drogo's Arak? Or would Dragonfire decide the duel before steel ever clashed? It's likely the realm falls quickly. The Targaryens reclaim the throne, not through careful strategy, but through overwhelming force. And yet, here lies the true twist. Drogo doesn't care for ruling. He has no interest in laws, courts, or crowns. Daenerys, however, does. She becomes the voice of order, the hand that guides conquest into governance. But would her rule be merciful? Or with Drogo's ruthless strength behind her, would she become a harsher, bloodier queen than in our timeline? The greatest consequence arrives years later. With the realm unified under fire and blood far earlier, Westeros might be stronger when winter comes. Picture Khal Drogo, riding at the head of Dothraki screamers against endless undead. Picture 3 grown dragons, scouring battlefields of whites in firestorms. The Night King may not stand a chance. The living might triumph before the long night truly begins. But power burns as brightly as dragonflame. A dynasty forged in conquest often tears itself apart. If Daenerys and Drogo's children inherit both fire and the Dothraki spirit of bloodshed, Westeros could fall into endless civil war long before the true enemy marches south. So, what if Khal Drogo never died? Westeros may have been united under Dragonfire decades earlier. Perhaps the Night King would have been defeated sooner. Or perhaps the realm would simply trade one kind of chaos for another. A world ruled not by lords and kings, but by a Khalasar with dragons. In the end, the question remains, would Drogo's survival have saved Westeros, or doomed it even faster?